On this show, we cover some sensitive topics.
Though the obituaries may be outlandish, the people are real.
Names have been changed or omitted in order to respect both the deceased and the survived by.
While death is no laughing matter, some petty last words can provide some pretty entertaining comic relief.
Welcome to Obituary. Welcome back to Obituary. I'm Spencer Henry.
And I'm Madison Reyes.
And next time you see me, I'll be in a big beret.
Oh my gosh, oui. You're going to have a baguette.
Bonjour, Geoffs. Je m'appelle Spencer Henry.
I'm so excited for you.
I'm so excited. And a lot of it is because of this show. So the champ and I are going to London this weekend, and then we're going to go meet my family in Paris for the week next week. And so we're doing a little pre-recording session. So actually the episode after this will also be before the trip.
Yeah.
But I'm so excited because honestly, it was kind of similar in Italy. Like there were so many places that we've talked about on the show that I am so excited to see in person. Like I'm so excited to go to the Père Lachaise cemetery or whatever and see rub Victor Noir's dick.
You have to get pictures.
Oh my God. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
I'm jealous. I'm so jealous.
We'll go one day.
I know. We talked about going to that cemetery, but at least one of us gets to go.
Yeah, we talked about. Well, so, I mean, I probably wouldn't be traveling during like the peak of summer, but my dad has been loving going to Paris the past couple of years. And he invited our whole family. So, honey, I'm going to Paris.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't wait. I've also never been to London. So I'm excited to bop around there, maybe become royal or something.
Aren't you doing a Jack the Ripper thing you said?
Yeah, a Jack the Ripper walking tour, which like I know people can look down on these types of ghost tours and things like that.
Why?
I'm telling you, the most fun, because I think people are like, oh, that's cheesy, whatever. I have gone on so many ghost tours throughout the country.
Yeah.
They are such a great way to not only see some history and learn some cool just history about where you are, but also getting to like hear these stories and stuff. I don't know. I think they're so fun. We did a really fun one in Salem. I'll never forget. We were so cold. We ran up to our room.
I will never forget. I have never felt cold like that ever. Like I cannot even imagine what people go through. I'll just say that.
It was freezing. We were there. Well, it was November. We went for Ash's wedding. Mm-hmm. We got to spend some time in Salem, and then it was very, very chilly that night. And I remember we were like, I'm not made out for this. But then I moved and it got so cold
and dealt
here
with
in the
the
winter.
ice storm. Yeah. So actually, I know. I'm so California that like I'm wearing a sweatshirt in 80 degrees. And
same.
When you've come out here though, you've acclimated. Like
think?
Yes, you're like, it is so hot.
I'm just different now.
Different now. I know.
Who knows? I'll probably be back in California by the end of the year.
Perfect. Perfect. That's what I like to hear, baby.
Okay, so last week we got done recording. Mm-hmm. And literally right before we always stay on to talk to each other afterwards. And last time I was like, girl, I'm sick.
Yeah, I can still hear it.
Me. Yeah, I'm still not fully. I feel totally better, but I still just have some like congestion right now.
Yeah.
But I was down bad. I knew it Thursday night. I'm like, okay, I'm sick. I'm not even going to deny it. Mm-hmm. And then I woke up on Friday and I was like, yep, I'm sick. So I spent all weekend in bed. I went out into the sun in like spurts to sit outside, but I just stayed in bed all weekend. And honestly, I've just gotten past the point where I'm like trying to fight through it. And I'm like, no, I'm fine. I think I finally just reached a point in my life where I'm like, I know I'm going to get better if I just lay here all weekend.
We fight
it. Lay here. We do.
We both do this. Like, no, I'm fine.
We're deniers. Literally, we can be like sick, like,
well, I think about when you had sepsis And I'm so happy that you weren't here because I know I probably would have been like, yeah, you're fine. Like, everything's good. Like, just rest. We would have been doing peppermint oil and oil of oregano.
You'd be like, here's a Zofran. You're fine.
You're fine.
I'm like, I can't see.
I know. Total denier.
I'm shitting on the floor, but
well, yeah. God.
Gnarly. But anyway, yeah. So I don't even have that much exciting stuff to say because I just was pretty much down all weekend.
I know. I was down too. Well, because I think I got sick too.
Yeah. Yeah, you're texting me. You got me sick.
I know. I haven't even seen you. And then our other friend texted too, like, I think I'm getting sick. I'm like, wait,
yeah.
I think I'm getting sick. Oh my God.
I can't have anything.
Sorry.
Not even an illness.
Sorry.
Well, then I got the champ sick, unfortunately. So hoping we're all just feeling great on Friday when we need to leave.
Yeah. So I'll see you in Paris.
Oh, I would love that.
I know. I would love that too. I can't. Cisco left like 2 days ago to go to Vegas.
He left her. Big news.
He left.
Finally had it.
I know. Fuck. God. So I'm just home alone. Well, by the time this comes out, I won't be. You perverts.
Sickos. Stay away from her windows.
Yeah.
Don't kill my girly.
Don't kill me. Yeah. Other than watching Love Island all weekend.
Oh, yeah. Crazy. Which we need to save that we need to do a whole gossip bridal on this show.
Yeah.
Because it's crazy.
She's on a little...
she's on summer break that we didn't even announce. We just stopped uploading them for a minute. But that's because when I was sick one week, you had something the other week. I think that was when Cisco was doing the baseball game. And then I'm going to be in Paris. So I was like... Yeah. And then this week, we got to do 2 obituaries because we didn't want to leave you hanging next week. Of
course not. We can't
leave you.
And
so today's Wednesday and we'll record another one tomorrow. So it's just, you know what? She's on hiatus right now and it's fine. We don't get paid for that one.
Okay.
Okay, I have more recommendations. One, I still want everyone to watch Widow's Bay. I think that'd be a great one for you to binge while Cisco's gone. I think you'd really like it.
Perfect. Okay. Oh, I've been video gaming a lot actually.
Oh, hell yeah.
So,
and then the other one I have it's a docuseries. It's 3 parts. It's called Should I Marry a Murderer?
I started watching that one, but you know how Doris goes nuts if there's any animals on the TV? She wouldn't allow me to watch it. So I started it though, and the girl's an idiot.
I don't know. I really enjoyed it, and I binged all 3 parts, which is hard for me to do in one sitting. And I literally just laid there because I was sick and I watched all 3 of them. Uh-huh. Tina's who told me to watch it.
Okay.
And it was so good. It gets crazier and crazier. And there's parts where you're like, okay, girl, like I kind of get it. And then there's parts where you're like, girl, you've lost it.
Yeah. But okay, consensus though. At the end of it, how do you feel about her? Or are you not going to say?
Oh, I think she's a whack job.
Okay, all right.
But I do.
All right.
But someone actually, I was posting about it in my stories. They're like, oh, she lives in my town now with her new man, and they do like a party planning business.
Wonderful. Perfect.
Probably better for her. I don't like, she definitely like lost her mind for a while. But part of her was likable to me.
Yeah. Who hasn't?
And I also think she was put into a really tricky situation. I'll say that.
Okay.
And you still need to fucking watch The Many Lives of Benjamin Kyle.
I have a confession. I started to watch it and Cisco was not into it. And so we changed it. So now I have to watch it by myself.
Well, he would be. See, no, this is the problem. You guys watch too much. You need to. He needs to watch it too. I'm gonna text him.
Okay. Oh, he's passionate. Gotta watch it. Okay, he's passionate about it.
Gotta watch it.
Oh my gosh.
Well, Madison, I think you're a real asshole.
Oh my gosh.
Not really. You're my girl.
Yes, girly.
Day one. But I do have some assholes for us that I would love to read, love to share with the class.
Please show me your asshole.
Hold on.
You little brown eye. Cute.
Give you a wink, a stink wink.
Ew.
I'll blow you a kiss. Okay, this first is, am I the asshole for letting my coworker believe that my sister is dead?
Okay, let's hear it.
A couple of weeks ago, I went back to the office for the first time after 2 months of working remotely. I have to admit that when I don't get out of the house for a while, I get out of practice socially, and it can be an awkward readjustment when I'm back around strangers. What, are you weird?
Yeah.
On my lunch break, I ran into a woman who works on our floor, and she mentioned something to me about her late sister, and I responded that I also have a late sister and that it makes it difficult to navigate my life. She started crying and talking about grief and loss, and at that point, it was too late to clarify. So I reassured her as well as I could, and I went back to my desk.
Is she talking tardy and the other person's talking dead?
I don't know how I forgot what late means in this context, but I had never heard it said that way in person, and I misunderstood what she was referring to. My sister has untreated ADHD and is chronically late, which makes it hard to schedule things around her.
No.
I haven't seen that woman since then because I've been eating lunch in my car. I plan to keep avoiding her, but I'm afraid she'll try and talk to me about this again. I don't know what I should say if she does, or if she tells someone else and they try to approach me about it. I'm bad at lying and I'm bad at telling the truth. Am I the asshole for not clarifying after the fact? Do I need to?
No, I feel bad for you. That is.
Girl, I just keep it up.
Keep it
Keep up the lie.
Yeah, keep up
Your
the
sister's
lie.
dead. I don't know what to tell you.
Sorry. And
No,
she
'cause-
doesn't know, maybe it was a sister you've never met or a distant sister. Like, God, who knows?
But then also you don't want it to spiral and then get caught in the lie later on because then you seem insane. So, I mean, my advice would be to like clarify it and be like, hey, I don't know if you're going to laugh at this or not. I'm so sorry. When you were talking about your late sister, I thought you were talking about like, oh, she was tardy places. I didn't know this.
That's great. Honesty is everything. However, I would spin it and say, yeah, I thought you meant your sister was tardy and like that really affected you. And
She
that's
talked
why
about
you cried.
No, girl. That's why you get in trouble.
That's how you get deemed a gaslighter.
Yeah.
It's an honest mistake.
You're not an asshole whatsoever, but I don't know what you should do. Quit. New job.
Burn the building down.
Girl, remote.
Yeah.
Go work remote. Okay, the next one says, am I the asshole for writing about my deceased friend?
Well, what'd you say?
They suck. I'm in a creative writing course right now, and in this course, we are expected to write a few short stories. I decided to write one of the short stories about my friend, Joe, 27 male, dead, who died last year in an accident. I didn't use his actual name in the story, but otherwise the character is clearly him. Although Joe came from a pretty conservative family background, he was actually pretty wild. He slept with anyone and everyone, he would try any drug, regularly got blackout drunk, he had a temper, he was an adrenaline junkie. His parents thought he was their golden boy, and they insulated themselves from who he really was. I didn't sugarcoat his lifestyle in my short story. I tried to tell it as it was. I had intended to publish the short story on my blog after the course was over as a tribute to him. I showed his sister, Alice, 25 female, the short story to check if she was okay with the contents. I had checked beforehand if it was fine for me to write and publish a story about him, and she said that it was, but she wanted to see it before I published it. Alice was really upset with how explicit it was. She told me that her parents would be even more hurt by the story and asked me not to publish it. According to Alice, the story made Joe look bad, and that isn't how the family wants the world to remember him. I think it's important to represent Joe as he actually was instead of the fake version of Joe his family prefers. She told me I can submit the story for my class assignment, but pleaded with me not to publish it. I'm really proud of the story, though, and it means a lot to me since he was my friend. Am I the asshole for wanting to publish my story?
I kind of think you are.
I do, too.
If the family is asking you, and it's, it's one thing if it's like the family was shitty or like last week's obituary, like where they completely made it seem like that guy was straight when he wasn't.
Right.
Like that kind of stuff, okay, I understand. But just like not everybody needs to know that maybe he was super wild. And
it's like when you have say you have a friend who used to be a partier and then they have kids, their kids grow up, you're talking to them. It's like you don't tell them, oh, your mom used to do lines off of blah, blah, blah. Like you just like, there's certain things that just don't need to be said. And especially after somebody...
Cut to us last week saying, when our moms lost it on us. Twisting our lips.
Yeah, they should be called out.
Yeah. Okay.
They should be called out. No, but I think like after somebody dies, I don't think you should tell disrespectful stories about them. Like keep it real, keep it funny, and it's like if there was like a funny story about him or something, but just being like he did all these drugs and slept with all these people. It's like, yeah, if it was my family member, if it was me, I'm like, I wouldn't want that shit published on your fucking blog. Save it. You're not a contributor to the New York Times, honey.
It feels narcissistic or something. Like this is just benefiting him. Like, wow, I wrote a really good story.
What I wrote is so good that the world needs to hear it. They don't.
No, they don't. And they never will. Okay.
No or you shouldn't have said it was based on him.
If it's such a great story, it should be able to stand, saying that it's a fictional character.
Yeah.
Please.
So, yeah, I do think you're the asshole if you publish it after the family's been like, hey, I'd prefer you didn't do that.
Yeah, like if you came out and went to my family after I died and were like, wrote some wild ass story.
I'm telling all.
They'd probably be like, yeah, and she did this and this.
I was going to say your family would be like, yeah. Wait, you need to also tell the story about how they probably would, and mine would for you too.
I know.
God. But yeah, no, I think that's a bitch move.
Yeah.
And speaking of bitches, you got a little side bitch for us?
Yes, I do. And this is from the New Orleans States, 1927. And this is very interesting. It says, New York, June 10th. A 70-year-old recluse who lived in the shadow of Brooklyn Bridge on 80 cents a day was identified today as Charles King, mining engineer who had amassed a fortune. Known as the Mystery Man in the neighborhood, a factory and tenement section of Brooklyn, he was found dead yesterday in the dingy basement of 2 adjoining frame houses he owned. Police believe he died a week ago. Neighbors had smelled gas and had seen newspapers delivered daily pulling up on King's doorstep. A policeman found the windows and doors stuffed with paper. On the wall of one room hung a diploma showing King had been graduated from Lehigh University in 1880 with the degrees of Bachelor's of Arts and Bachelor's of Science. A well-stocked library contained books by King on mining engineering. Papers showed he was a life member of the American Society of Metallurgical I can't say that word. Metallurgical engineers.
Girl, I don't know what it is, but that's not it, girl.
Metallurgical engineers. That sounds better when I say it like that.
We're familiar.
Yes.
Yes.
King had 2 close friends, Patrolman O'Connell, 10 years on the beat, okay, and the secretary of a nearby Italian settlement house. Relatives of the recluse, however, were found. A brother, Dr. Thomas A. King of New York.
That'd be me. I'd be like, yeah, it's his brother. Where's the fortune?
Yeah. It was said at Dr. King's home that his brother had amassed a fortune in mining and with Andrew Carnegie in his early steel ventures. Patrolman O'Connell said King had said he had $500,000 invested in foreign bonds, although he lived on a daily budget of 80 cents. So the headline of this was Rich Man Lived on 80 cents a day.
Oh, girl. Never would be me.
Honey?
Honey, I'm no Warren Jeffs, okay?
Okay.
Or no Warren Buffett. Warren Jeffs.
I hope you're not Warren Jeffs.
Girl. Maybe I am. Damn, crazy.
I know. 80 cents a day. You never know. You really never know. That's why you need to be nice to everybody so you get money.
Yes. Yeah. Take it from them.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, I'm going to tell you what had me spinning in my coffin this week.
I bet I know what it is, baby.
We'll be right back.
And we're back, Spency Wency. What had you
Naughty Waddy, my chuny goony
My
pony.
chuny goony
I love you so much, my
I love
chuny
you,
bunny.
Jimmy. Miss you.
I miss you so much.
Okay. What had you spinning? Get down to business.
All right. All right, Geoffs. Well, this week, as we do sometimes, I feel like when we got, stuff going on, we decided to spin in our coffin together. And I'm actually so excited. We've been sitting on this one for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Sit on it, bitch. Together, we've been
sitting and spinning.
We sit and spin, bitch. Jokes aside, we got to dive into an incident that we've been wanting to talk about forever. An incident that resulted in decades of theories, conspiracies, and leaving many people desperate for answers about what exactly happened to their loved ones at Dyatlov Pass.
It is crazy.
I'd heard of this incident over the years, and especially because I feel like so many people have talked about it, but I didn't really know what the whole story here was. And
Same.
Once I started to dig into it, I was like, oh shit, this is actually berserk.
Yeah. Berserk.
It is berserk. I'm not sure what I think happened, even by the end of it, but
Same.
Madison, you'll get into the theories later on. Even with the theories, I have some ideas, but I also feel like it could be so many things.
It could be fully.
So for those of you who aren't familiar, this all started back in January of 1959 when a group of some college kids and another are about to embark on the trip of a lifetime. All of them were avid hikers, as many people in that area are, which we're going to get into all of it. But most of the people who were like embarking on this little expedition were in their early 20s, with the exception of one of them, Semyon Zolotaryov. He was 37 or 38 years old, depending on the source. I saw both kept popping up for me. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So out of the 10 of the group, 2 of the group members were women. We have Zinaida Kolmogorova, and she went by Zina, I believe. And then Lyudmila Dubanina.
Wow.
And those are the two gals of the group. The rest of them were all guys. And the group was led by a 23-year-old man named Igor Dyatlov.
Never even put 2 and 2 together I'm like, oh, that's just, that's what
They
it's
named it
called.
after him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which was interesting when you're researching it, especially when you're reading older things or just learning about that like terrain. Because it was called, it didn't have that name before. But
Yeah.
Anyway. And so Igor Dyatlov, he was an engineering student at the Ural Polytechnical Institute. That was the school that he went to, which is where he met most of the other people in the group were fellow students or recent graduates of the school. Again, with the exception of Semyon, the older guy, he had apparently just met Igor Dyatlov shortly, but in the weeks leading up to this expedition, and he was invited to come along with them.
The older guy.
Yeah.
Our age.
Really old guy. That
was Fuck.
And as I mentioned, the core group of friends from the university, they were all very active hikers in the Institute's hiking program. None of them were strangers to a difficult hiking expedition. But this one was going to be harder than ever before. They were going on what's called a Category 3 expedition, which was at the time like the highest achievement they could get in the class that they were taking. And they weren't just hiking either. They were using cross-country skis, which are not the same as downhill skis, to make their way through the terrain. They were going to be going through the mountains. There was going to be snow, and they weren't sure how difficult that would be to trek through. And actually, have you ever done snow skiing before?
I have.
Or like cross-country skiing?
It's terrible.
Me too. I went when I was in rehab.
Why?
And I did not go to like a cushy rehab whatsoever. It was rough, but for some reason we got a day trip one time. It was an overnight, and they took us all these badass kids to go
ski?
cross-country skiing.
Oh my God. Yeah, no.
I found a cigarette in a parking lot there.
Did you
on
smoke
that trip.
it?
Well, that was like, obviously we weren't allowed to do that because it was like an adolescent treatment center, but I had been there for months. And so I found this cigarette in a parking lot, and I'm like, I worked in the kitchen at the rehab. And I knew there were matches there. So I was like, I'm going to take this. When I get back, I'm going to smoke this cigarette. And so I pocketed the cigarette and I put it in my pocket, but I felt too guilty.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
That's when I knew he was a changed man.
Wow.
He's smoked many since, but
yeah.
not there. Wait until I got out.
You don't know if it was like laced.
True. Anyway, I've done it. It's difficult. It's not as enjoyable as regular skiing is by any means whatsoever.
Well, what's cross country? Never mind. Hold on. I've been regular skiing and it was terrible.
Oh, no. Cross country skiing, you're like you're like not going down hills.
Oh, no. I was going down hills, fearing for my life.
Oh, see, I loved skiing growing up. I loved skiing. Skiing and snowboarding are fun.
Oh, we weren't like my grandparents had a cabin.
Uh-huh.
But I never went. No, I was terrible. Okay, so I don't know anything.
Okay. Well, different. different. Sorry, I feel like this is going all over the place. We got a group of 10, right? They're heading out on this expedition skiing journey mostly for the love of it all and to like go hike this mountain. And
aren't they getting their like class C like?
Well, yeah, that's what I was talking about. So that category 3 expedition was going to be like the highest achievement they could unlock.
Got it.
Through the university's like hiking program or whatever. And so their expedition starts on January 23rd of 1959. They traveled by train and truck through several different little villages, making their way towards the mountains. And they had to make multiple stops along the way. And from all of the evidence that's been collected, it really looks like a group of mostly college-age kids just going off on this really fun adventure. Like that is how it all started. And that is how most of their journey went. They took a ton of photographs. There's so many pictures of this group just having the time of their lives.
Yeah, it is cool.
And they kept a group diary chronicling their journey. But there was also some individual diaries that were recovered later on that just talked about the events of the day, how the trip was going, all of that. And there was an entry that came from the diary of Lyudmila from January 23rd, the day that they were going to like start their journey. And it says, quote, "It's the last day of preparations and everything has been quite hectic. From 11 in the morning, I was scampering between stores, buying different bits and pieces. And I was silly enough to buy 5 meters of cambric, which cost 200 rubles. I was packing in such a rush, and of course, I've forgotten at home my sweater. Everyone was busy with something, and we had so many things to do. Just before our departure, those who wanted to say goodbye came to meet us. We were really short of time, but arrived at the railway station with seconds to spare. Then we had to say goodbye to everyone. Before leaving, we sang a few songs, but in the cart, Blinov group joined, and we continued singing together. Amongst all the most notable is Krotov's bass. This time, there were a lot of very new songs that we were writing down with the help of an instructor, A. Zolotaryov, who came with us on the trek. At first, nobody wanted this Zolotaryov guy, for he is a stranger. He's the 38-year-old.
Oh, no.
But then we all agreed because you can't refuse. Thus, as we were 10 and remained 10. And then they also have an entry from that same day, January 23rd, in the group diary that paints a really fun picture of that night. And they say things like, "Oh, here we are on the train. We sang all the songs we know. We learned a new one, and everyone went to sleep at 3 a.m. I wonder what awaits us on this trip. What will we encounter? The boys solemnly swore not to smoke the entire trip. I wonder how much willpower they have to get by without cigarettes. Everybody is falling asleep." I just love the idea of this like friend group going on a trip and like documenting it all.
Yeah.
Obviously before social media and stuff, and just having this like group diary. I think it's really
so
sweet.
Cute.
And I mean, unfortunately, they're asking, what will we encounter?
Ooh.
They could have never expected.
Yes. Could never expected. Needed booze and cigarettes.
Yeah. And this was a serious trek to even get to the mountains, which I think is one of the things that surprised me when I was researching. I'm sure you saw this too, but like, it wasn't just like, oh, off to the mountains we go, or even just like a train ride there. It's like, no, they're stopping in little villages. They're taking trains. They're taking lorries, which are just trucks from place to place. And on January 25th, they arrived in Ivdale, And then the next day, they took another lorry to a village called Vizhe, and they arrived there, stayed in someone's guest house, apparently on one of those nights. And then there's diary entries from the following day explaining that this would be their last day in quote unquote civilization. They watched some movies, they got to stay in a barrack. And then cut to January 28th. They are 5 days into this journey, still not at the mountain. And hiking in reality was starting to set in. There was no more guest houses or hostels to come, no guest houses with beds. It was them, their backpacks, and their skis. Unfortunately, one of the young men, and you guys, I need you to bear with us. All the names we've said before and all the names we say in the future, we're not Russian. We're trying our best.
Yes.
But girls, we looked up the pronunciations for some of the names, and
some of them we just can't.
Can't do it, girl. So one of the young men, Yuri Yudin, Yuri-Yudin, was down for the count. And I also wanted to put that disclaimer out because these could be names like Mike Johnson in America. And I don't know. Sorry. So anyways, Yuri was having terrible sciatic pain. And he's like, you guys, I can't keep going. I'm going to turn around. Like, I'm going to go back. So he starts backtracking and he makes his...
How sad do you think he was?
I was writing about that. I'm like, he was probably so bummed out to be on this fun group trip where they're drinking and having fun and they're on trains and riding around in the backs of trucks, all the friends staying in cabins, watching movies late at night.
Taking pictures, journal entries,
And to know he had to turn around, it was probably such a bummer. Like, man, here we are finally trekking and I can't do it. But in all actuality, this move would save Yuri's life because just a few days later, everything was going to go to hell. One of the gals, Zena, wrote a diary entry that day that Yuri left, and she was kind of chronicling the events. She wrote, quote, "Today is the first day of our journey. The backpack is not much, but somewhat heavy. Yes, Yuri Yudin is leaving us today. His sciatic nerves inflamed again, and he is leaving. Such a pity. We distributed his load in our backpacks. It turns out that on the last day, we see some kind of civilization, stove, people, etc. Today, we arranged our backpacks to go on a horseback, and we are waiting for them to be ready, and we will go skiing. Everyone is singing. The workers living in barracks did not go to work. They sing. We sit and write songs." There's lots of photographs and diary entries that chronicled the following days as well. But it seems like it was a pretty tough journey moving forward, and it kind of reminded me, even though this was in like the late 50s, there were parts that felt reminiscent of when we talked about like the Donner Party, for example, where you're just picturing this freeze. But Russia seems even fucking colder, girl. They're talking like negative 17 degrees Celsius and shit. I'm like, burr. But it just seems like for Yuri, like he got out at the right time because it was a cold journey forward, and I don't think they were prepared for what was there. They headed onward towards their goal. They went onward to Mount Ortorchen, which translates to "don't go there," which is crazy.
Is that the dead mountain?
No.
Okay.
That name was given to the area by the Mansi, which is a group of indigenous reindeer herders who had lived on that region for more than a century. But yeah, literally called "don't go there." And as these like icy storms are rolling in, they continued trying to get over what then wasn't called the Dyatlov Pass. However, they get lost and they ended up on this remote peak of the Kholat Shackle, which translates to Dead Mountain or Death Mountain.
Got it. Okay.
Which is also I'm not ever, I'll tell you what, I'll go on an adventure. I'm not going to
don't go there.
Don't go there. And then next stop is Dead Mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah, not doing it.
Written in the snow.
Yeah. Truly. So they set up camp for the night on February 1st, which many have found strange about where they were on this like remote peak, because if they would have just gone downhill a little bit, they would have been in like forest area and it would have been they would have been more protected from the wind, and it would have been probably easier to start fires with all the wood down there. But they were up in this like highly exposed area But some have theorized that Igor, the group's leader, probably wanted to stay at the current altitude that they were at because he didn't want them like coming and going from like lower to higher because of obviously like altitude sickness and it can slow down momentum. But something happened that night that would lead to decades of mysteries. Prior to the group going on this expedition, Igor had assured the sports club at the Institute, who had given them kind of like their guidelines for this trip, that he would send them a telegram or message around February 12th, letting them know that they had survived the journey and had made it back to the village as planned. But February 20th comes around and nobody has heard a thing, not a peep from the group. And obviously most concerned outside of the school are the families of the young travelers. Like, what the fuck happened? The university ends up sending out a search party of student volunteers to go look for the hikers. There were some teachers there as well. And I believe they were flown in via helicopter. There was 11 of them in total, including the guides. But eventually, several groups from the local army and police forces also joined the search for the missing 9. It was on February 26th that they found the group's tent, which had undergone severe damage. And not
so eerie.
Just totally eerie, not just weather damage, nothing like that. And inside of the tent were all of the group's belongings, including their shoes, which highly suspicious. It appeared as if they had just taken off in the middle of the night, leaving everything behind. And a seamstress actually later determined that the tent had been slashed from the inside to make a quick escape, presumably, which is part of what makes this so strange. Like, what happened that night that they all needed to get out of there so quick? And why all of them together? Like, were they all experiencing some sort of shared psychosis? Like, what was going on here?
Right.
And 500 meters away from there, near the edge of the forest, they found the remnants of a fire, which they presumed the group had started to stay warm. And I'm thinking it's kind of weird that this is so far away from where the tent was. Like, why didn't they just start one out there? But then I was like, oh, well, duh. They probably had to go down there to get the wood. And maybe they were so cold, they're like, we're not going back up. Like, we need to do this right now. So they see that little area where they're like, okay, clearly somebody had a fire here. And then under a tree, they spotted something. Like, they could see that there was some like color down there. And so they go over to this spot, and that would lead to them finding the bodies of Yuri Doroshenko, 21 years old, and Yuri Krivonishenko, 23 years old. Both of them were barefoot. Both of them were wearing just their underwear, which we know from episodes past, when somebody goes through hypothermia, it's pretty common for them to like want to just rip all of their clothes off because I think you get this almost like opposite reaction.
It's called paradoxical undressing.
Okay, bitch. Damn. Okay, girl.
Well, I'm going to talk about it a little bit.
Okay. I'm almost done. And then there was nearby branches that had been broken, which made it appear that more of the group had probably gone that way and like held on the tree branches to be able to get by. So they kind of follow that path, and that's when they stumble upon the bodies of Igor Dyatlov, 23, and then also Zina or Zenaida Homogorova, 22 years old, as well as the body of 23-year-old Rustam Slobodin. And it appeared that they had been trying to make their way back to the tent based on the way that their bodies were positioned. So now a total of 5 bodies had been found. However, 4 were still missing, and they would remain missing for weeks to come. It wasn't until May 4th of 1959 that the bodies of the remaining 4 from the expedition were found in horrific condition in a ravine. That was Nikolai Thibault-Brignoles. He was 23 years old. Lyudmila Dubinina, who was 23 years old. Semyon Zolotaryov, 37 or 38, and then Alexander Kolvatov, who was 24 years old. This is obviously tragic, but there was something exceptionally insidious about the bodies of those final 4 that were found in that ravine.
Yes.
So what is, perhaps most shocking to me was the body of Semyon Zolotaryov.
Have you seen the picture?
He was wearing a lot of clothes. They found he had 5 broken ribs, and there was some of the skin tissue from his face was missing as well. It had been torn off. There was a huge gash on the back of his head. But most terrifying of all was that both of his eyeballs were missing from his skull.
Just clean out, it looked like.
Clean out. Also, eerily similar is Yudmila, who she had been kind of positioned in a way that she was like leaning over this ledge. Her tongue was missing.
That's crazy.
As well as both of her eyeballs. She had empty eye sockets at the time. She had 10 broken ribs. Tissue from her mouth and lips was missing as well.
Yeah, I read you could like see her.
The bones.
Yeah.
And I believe they ruled that her death was not from
not hypothermia. Yeah.
Which is so strange. So it's like, this is what makes this case so bizarre, right? Is we have 9 individuals deceased. All of them are different in their own ways.
And different weird injuries.
And I know you're getting into the theories of everything, so I don't want to go too deep into that. But I mean, there's things where like some of them were like missing their eyebrows. Some of them have these injuries as if they had just gotten the shit beat out of them.
A broken nose on one of them, a snapped neck on another. Like
someone was missing part of their jaw.
Yeah, yes. Oh, a knuckle was found in one of the guy's mouths, like his own
knuckle. Yes. It was one of the Yuris. It was the Yuri Krivonishenko.
Yeah. So like, do we think he was biting his knuckle? Like,
you know what? I went through 2 theories because I know a lot of people are like, well, he might have just been like self-cannibalizing or something, but I don't think so. I also am like, was he just like, because if I was there freezing and I was just like trying to make my death faster, would I like bite myself to try and just make myself bleed out or something? But that a knuckle feels weird to be doing that with. And the fact that the skin was found in his mouth was even more bizarre. But I'm also like, I guess we don't know exactly what happened. So it's like maybe they fell from where they were or something. And he like, you know, I don't know.
I know. And like no bruising. Like the outward body had no bruising, but there was internally stuff. So
there's just something that's so odd about all of it. Madison, I think what I'm going to do is I'll put us on a quick break. And then when we come back, I'm going to have you take us through the discoveries and some of the theories that are out there about what might have happened that evening.
Okay, let's do it. I've got so much to say.
Woohoo. We'll be right back. And we're back. Girly, take it away.
Alrighty, Geoffs. So now that Spencer has given us the rundown on the horrible incident, I am going to dive into the theories because there are so many of them and this is still a mystery.
Yeah, sorry, we're not giving you conclusions today.
No.
But we're giving you theories.
There are like official conclusions that we'll get into, but nobody's buying it. Okay, nobody's buying it. And in the last few months, actually, I have been seeing, which is probably what you've been seeing too, which is probably why we even brought up this incident to finally do. There's been quite a few articles floating around, like with some new theories and like the mystery is finally solved. And then you read it and it's just another theory.
Yeah, we're not based on anything. That's like Jack the Ripper, where they're always like, centuries old case finally solved. And you're like, what? And then it's not.
Has it? No.
No.
Has the Zodiac been?
No.
Yeah, it's one of those things. So I, needless to say, went down a ton of rabbit holes, and some of the theories are so fucking wild, and some of them that are the most wild are the most believable or like make the most sense. I don't know. We'll get into it. But I think what makes the theories run wild, and don't get me wrong, because I fucking love them, and I love that people, I don't know, there's some things with like online sleuths that I'm like, okay, you know, whatever. But then I'm like, if I was in that position, if I went missing and it was weird and there's all these weird circumstances, I would want people theorizing.
Yeah.
The more, the merrier.
Uh-huh.
And also the Soviet government quickly closed the case after it happened, which left a lot of things unanswered.
Well, that was because of the KGB, right?
Well, yeah, and we were in the midst of the Cold War.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and we talked about the Cold War, I think with the doomsday clock.
Yep.
The United States and the Soviet Union were in a race to just be better than each other. And so there's so many things I'm sure that got covered up, you know?
Yeah.
The Soviet government investigated the deaths. They did autopsies. They closed the case pretty quickly and essentially concluded that the hikers died due to what they called a compelling natural force, which, okay, what the fuck does that mean, right?
Yeah.
Which is wild. We have 9 experienced hikers. We have a tent cut from the inside. We have people running into snow, barely dressed. We have these weird injuries. We have missing body parts, no tongues, no eyeballs, no eyebrows, knuckles in the mouth. Like, what the fuck? And they also found some radiation on the clothing.
Yes.
Which, very interesting. We'll get into that. I also noticed while researching this, like, a lot of the theories aren't like, why did they die? We know it was unbearably cold. We know hypothermia obviously had a lot to do with it. We know that some of them had these weird injuries, but like, I feel like what I read mostly is like, why would they have strayed from their tent?
Well, yeah, because I think some of the injuries can be chalked up to nature, right? Like the eyeballs
Yes.
and the tongue, for instance, there's theories that it was birds, right?
Scavengers,
Or like natural,
yeah.
scavengers, which would make sense, but still doesn't answer that question of why the hell did they rush out of the tent that night?
Right. So,
Because you would also think they would just stay there, like if they were found frozen, that they'd be all huddled up together or something, like to create the
100%.
warmth.
Yes, 100%. Or by the fire. It is very weird. And yeah, going back to some of their injuries, like there were some weird fucking ones, right? But a neck snapping or blunt force trauma or like chest injuries or broken ribs, well, that could be nature. You know, it
Sure.
could be. So I don't know. We're going to get into it. We're still going to.
I also saw the tongue. I read that there were some people that theorized her tongue might have gone missing because of the ice, like the temperature. She could have been trying to hydrate and like lick some ice or something, and then her tongue got stuck, and then when they pulled it off or whatever, it ripped her tongue out.
Oh my God. Well, that makes sense though.
It makes sense. Well, because I'm just like, I don't want to like negate science and like facts, right? Like these are
No.
things that we've talked about, that it's like, is there a Jeepers Creepers out there stealing their eyeballs? It was probably scavengers, right?
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Totally. I know.
Unless
We'll get, we've got some weird theories. But yeah, they were experienced hikers, like almost the most experienced you could get. Why would they leave their tent? They knew, the dangers of the temperature. They knew that their best chance of survival, even if they were like, fuck, how are we getting out of this, is to shelter probably in place in their tent, the warmth of each other. So what happened that was so scary or so urgent that they fucking cut the tent from the inside and fled? Like that, it's very interesting. So let's start with a theory that most experts believe to be true. And it makes sense to me. At least when I first heard this theory, it made the most sense to me, which is an avalanche.
yes.
Like, I would imagine hearing or maybe feeling snow starting to shift and being in a tent, like, okay, fuck, we got to get the fuck out of
Yeah.
here. Like, let's move. And for years, people did reject this theory because when rescuers arrived, there was no like evidence of like a giant, I don't know. I always remember an I Love Lucy episode where an avalanche happens and they're like up in the snow and they get snowed in. And like, there wasn't any evidence of like a Hollywood style avalanche that you would see in a movie.
Right.
The tent was still there. Footprints were still visible.
True.
The slope that they were on didn't appear like steep enough for that to happen, but it actually could have been something called a smaller slab avalanche. So basically it's like just a dense sheet of snow that breaks loose, and either it struck the tent or it made them fear like a larger collapse was going to happen. So they took off out of the tent, which would explain why the tent was cut from the inside, but it doesn't explain missing eyeballs and tongues and like really gnarly injuries that they had.
Well, I also think too, because they were just so far away from each other, like their bodies. I mean, not so far away, but like, why were they all off in a different direction? Because that's again something where it's like I could picture some of them staying in the tent and then some of them being sent down to collect wood from the forest or vice versa. But
yeah,
that's what just seems so bizarre to me.
I know. It's so weird. But in 2015, the ICRF, which is short for Investigative Committee of the Russian Federation, actually reopened the Dyatlov Pass case. And I want to read this from arstechnica.com.
Okay.
It says, quote, in 2019, the Russian Public Prosecutor's Office resurrected the case from its archives. That's what Johann Gaume, who heads the Snow and Avalanche Simulation Laboratory at EPFL in Switzerland, received a call from a New York journalist looking for insight into the mystery. So really quick, 2015, they reopened it. And then I believe that they said this was due to an avalanche. And then in 2019, I think it was reopened again by a different Russian entity. And then that's when they called this guy in Switzerland, or the journalist called the guy in Switzerland.
Okay.
It says the call was the first Gaume had heard of the Dyatlov Pass incident, and he was immediately intrigued. After spending a few days thinking it over and doing calculations, he told the journalist that he believed the most likely explanation was an avalanche that hit while the hikers were sleeping, catching them by surprise. The Russian prosecutor's office had reached the same conclusion. Given the lack of evidence and the various strange elements in the case, Gaume decided to partner with Alexander Puzrin, a geoengineer at Zurich, to investigate more deeply. The two men combed through the public archives, consulted with other scientists, and ultimately developed two distinct models to reconstruct the avalanche they believe had occurred in February of 1959. There was an analytical model to estimate the time required to trigger an avalanche, while a numerical model estimated the effect of avalanches on the human body. They go on and publish their findings, and it says the duo attributed the Dyatlov Pass tragedy to a slab avalanche, which occurs when a bonded layer of snow, the slab, is lying on top of a weak layer over a sufficiently large area. Slab avalanches can only be triggered when there is a slope angle of at least 30 degrees and when an additional load is added to the top layer. A slab avalanche could explain both why the hikers left their tent and some of the injuries they sustained. They also go on to talk about katabatic winds. It says the most crucial factor was the influence of so-called katabatic winds, which carried air down the slope under the force of gravity, which I'm going to get into in just a second. But I have to add that allegedly the researcher from Switzerland, he saw the Disney movie Frozen, and he got in touch with Disney Animation after he saw how incredible the snow and the avalanches that they did in that movie were. And he wanted the code for the animation to be able to like reenact the avalanches. And
oh my gosh.
He did.
Wow.
From IndieWire, they quote a National Geographic report that says, quote, following a trip to Hollywood to meet with the specialist who worked on Frozen's snow effects, Gaume modified the film's snow animation code for his avalanche simulation models, albeit with a decidedly less entertaining purpose to simulate the impacts that avalanches would have on the human body, which so interesting. But back to the katabatic winds, that actually leads into another theory. So katabatic winds are powerful downhill winds. And under certain conditions, they can create something called infrasound. An infrasound is a low frequency sound that we as humans can't like consciously hear. However, they have been known to cause extreme anxiety and extreme panic, and also like an extreme feeling of dread.
Oh my God, I think someone plays that every day here.
Oh my God, same. There are some days where I'm
Is
like,
that my alarm?
infrasound, fuck. Who knows? Who knows? I know we were talking about like Disneyland, how like just being there, maybe we sound like Disney adults, but like how happy it makes us and like that nostalgic feeling. And we're like, they're pumping something in there.
Something in there.
For sure. So that could be a reason maybe they were all feeling this insane panic and anxiety and they ventured out of the tent. Like, get me the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Like, we're starting to freak out. So that's something. But also a theory that makes sense to me, and we kind of touched on it earlier, was the hypothermia causing the paradoxical undressing.
Oh, yes, that's paradoxical undressing.
Yes,
yes.
I sounded educated.
Girl, you named that shit. But don't you love, side note, when things come up now that we've learned on the show?
Yes.
And you can just be like, oh, that's actually this.
Yeah. Oh, yes. So that is yes.
Myocardial.
Yes. That's that.
Myopathy.
Yeah. Cardiovascular myopathy or something. I don't know.
Girl.
What? Who's asking? Okay. Read our New York Times bestseller.
Read the book.
Read the book, babe. It is the weirdest symptom to me of hypothermia. So as your body begins to shut down and, you know, you're fucking freezing cold, your brain starts to do weird shit and people get confused. You start hallucinating. And then also in some cases, you're convinced that you're overheating. And so you literally strip down because you're like, I'm so hot. But really you're freezing to death.
It's a nightmare.
A nightmare. And it sounds insane, but it is a documented phenomenon, which also could explain why some of them were just dressed crazy and missing shoes and not dressed at all.
Well, some were in wearing the other one's clothes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it explains why some survival decisions just looked very bizarre. And going through all this, I think it's like there's something somewhere in the middle where I know hypothermia was happening. I don't think we can dispute that. I'm sure the paradoxical undressing happened. I'm sure there was some snow movement. I'm sure there was maybe some crazy winds that caused panic. Like, I think there's a little bit of everything. And then there was a theory that I heard that I automatically like rolled my fucking eyes hearing it. And I know you'll agree with me, like being from the United States, we've learned and seen how terribly Indigenous people are treated and blamed for things. And so this theory was that to me right away. It was one of the earliest theories put out, but people started blaming the Mansi tribe. The
ones who named the land.
Yes.
The reindeer people.
Yes. Exactly. So the Mansi are an indigenous group that have lived in that region and those mountains for centuries. I think you said that already. But there are reports that claimed investigators found a Mansi chum near the area of the hikers. And a chum is like a traditional tent like shelter used by indigenous groups in that area. The rumors were that like the hikers had been sacrificed and used in like ritual killings. And it was just
very on brand for the times.
Very
for
on
them to think that.
Yes, 100%. And they were like, well, they wandered onto their land and you know, it's all bullshit.
But you also see some of where that theory is derived from. At least at the time, there was more of a simplistic, obviously dated way of thinking. But then they're also like, they went to a mountain called Don't Go Here Mountain.
Right,
and then they went to Death Mountain. And yeah. So like, I'm not excusing that whatsoever.
I get it.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, totally. The evidence, there was no evidence of that.
Right.
Like the chum was for when I believe there's a picture of it with like moose antlers on it. And like they would use it when they were hunting. That chum was because they had killed a moose.
Okay.
And so anyway, and there was no evidence of any fight. There was no defensive wounds on any of the people. And so that just kind of, you know, went away. Then these next theories, I was like, okay, we got to put our tinfoil hats on. But actually we don't really need to because it doesn't seem that fucking crazy to me, especially this day and age with things being released. We know that some conspiracies are actually allegedly real. So we've got the Yeti theory. The Bigfoot fucking did it. And this is my favorite theory because, of course, it was Bigfoot. I was laughing reading this, actually. But then I found that the hikers had cameras. Some of them had cameras, and the investigators were able to recover the cameras and develop the film. And one of the photos, which is 100% real, it's not doctored in any way, shows a big fucking Yeti in one of the pictures. And it's like, there's no denying it. It looks, I mean, people are like, oh no, it's just a man in like a snowsuit. It's whatever. No.
Girl.
That thing is standing like a Yeti. Like
That's a Yeti.
It's a Yeti. We'll post it. But I'm not fucking, I don't know. It looks like it's literally
I went to the
Bigfoot.
Bigfoot Museum, right?
Yes.
Which is, they also talked about Yetis. And they also talked about, there were so many articles back in the day of them finding these gigantic skeletons and stuff of people. So,
yeah. I don't know. But I will say there were no big, huge footprints, no Yeti footprints, and there were no bite marks or anything like that. So who knows?
He could have just slammed them around.
And scared them.
Yeah.
You know, who knows? Then we get to military testing, which I feel like this is the theory I would maybe go with. I don't know. It was hard, like, going back into the newspaper archives, which that's like our favorite thing to do because I feel like you get the realist like sense of what was going on at the time, what newspapers were reporting. And there's nothing from 1959 you can't find. Although most of it, I'm sure, was in Russian. And
yeah, they don't aggregate the international ones normally on the U.S. archives. But I will say that this theory also makes sense to me because of the radiation.
Yes. So okay, so let's get into it. Like I said earlier, we're in the height of the Cold War. Soviet Union, United States, we're trying to be better than each other. We're testing all these new weapons. We're doing military drills, the whole thing. So there was another group camping nearby, and they reported seeing all these strange orange lights in the sky around the time of the incident, like around those months, which immediately got people wondering if the hikers had accidentally stumbled into some sort of like military operation or some type of like weapons testing.
Possibly.
And I read that they could have encountered something called parachute mines, which is what it sounds like. So I guess parachute mines explode from a parachute.
Come down.
Yes, and explode before they hit the ground because then it sends like a wave of something, like a powerful wave that like I guess a powerful blast, which
but
could
there was no evidence found of that.
No evidence found of that, but then you get really conspiracy like, well, yeah, if it was military testing, they're going to fucking come and clean it up.
Sure.
You know, and leave these people. So who knows? But it could explain why there were weird injuries like the crushed ribs, the skull fractures, the chest trauma, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But this theory doesn't hold up because there weren't military tests going on at the time. Documented. Who knows? Who knows? Exactly. Who knows? A military's not going to fucking give away all their shit. Like, they're not going to say, yeah, we were. So who knows? And the Soviet government could have totally covered it up. Allthat'sinteresting.com has a little quote I want to read. It says, Lev Ivanov, the chief investigator of the Dyatlov Pass incident, said, I suspected at the time and am almost sure now that these bright flying spheres had a direct connection to the group's death. When he was interviewed by a small Kazakh newspaper in 1990, censorship and secrecy in the USSR forced him to abandon this line of inquiry. Other explanations include drug testing that caused violent behaviors in the hikers, which makes me think about the 1960s here, the drug testing and like the connections with
Oh,
Manson
yeah.
and all that. And then it says, and an unusual weather event known as infrasound, which we've touched on.
Mm-hmm.
But then, yeah, the radiation on the clothes and I guess their skin. And there are reports of like from some of their funerals, they all had this like orangey tinge to them. Like an
and this
orangey
grayish
tan.
stuff coming out of their mouths.
Yes, one of them had the gray coming out of their mouth. However, there is another theory that's connected to those lights in the sky, which is aliens, those glowing lights in the sky. Yes. They were reported and seen by multiple people. So people think that this could have been a theory because the recovered camera film also included a picture that showed a glowing bright light, which shows that maybe they were taking pictures of it.
Yeah.
Maybe it was something they weren't supposed to be taking pictures of. Maybe it was military they weren't supposed to be taking pictures of, but also maybe it was aliens and the aliens were like, you're not supposed to fucking know about us yet. Like,
Yeah.
we're going to come in.
Too early. We're going to come in 2026.
Yeah, and do some weird shit. And then the radiation, investigators detected elevated radiation on some of the articles of clothing. Not at levels that suggest that they
Poisoning.
got blasted. Yeah, by like an alien spaceship or something. But also, one of the hikers had previously worked in an environment that had radiation, so it could have.
Yeah.
Exposure wasn't unheard of. Yeah, so that's kind of where we're left with.
We just don't know.
We don't know. The avalanche thing does seem like, I would think avalanche and then some scavengers. But then, yeah, finding them so far from each other, I don't know. Seeing footprints still.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's, I think, yeah, there's just, I think, a lot to it that just doesn't add up.
Doesn't add up. And then I don't know if you saw during researching, but I think it's something we're going to have to revisit, was a Dyatlov Part 2.
No.
There was another group of campers that died out there and one survived.
Oh,
we're going to have to
weird.
revisit.
Okay. Yeah. I'm ready to go down that rabbit hole next.
Me too. So maybe it'll give us more answers. But yeah, that's where we're left. I don't know. I do not know.
I don't know. None of my business. But you know what I do know, Madison? Is we love an obituary on this show.
We sure do.
And I have one from the Star Herald from January 9th of 1986. And I love it so much. It says, West's most famous cat eulogized by friends.
Aww.
Jezebel Cat of West was officially put to rest Saturday with a funeral service befitting for a queen. Although she died 2 months ago from injuries received in an accident under the hood of a car, her friends decided to hold the actual funeral service and eulogy until her grave marker came in this weekend. The famous feline wandered into West in the fall of 1971 and quickly stole a place in the hearts of several residents in the community. State Representative Marianne Stevens, then an employee at the West Branch office of Holmes County Bank, merchants Floyd and Alice Ellis, and Mrs. Brock Kraft, another bank employee, were among the first to befriend Jezebel. They began feeding the cat and taking her into the bank and the Ellis's store. Mrs. Kraft chose the name Jezebel for the cat, and it wasn't too long before Jezebel began to take the character of her namesake. Jezebel took over a chair in the bank, and business cards were made with her title as chairman of the board, but B-O-R-E-D, printed on them. She had her own business cards. Diva. Employees attempting to rout her from the chair met a resistance that asserted itself in outstretched paws, pressing against an absolutely horrid outcry, said Jerry Tate, formerly of West and the original public relations man for Jezebel. Adventures in Jezebel's life include having a family in the West jail and mysterious disappearances. Jezebel almost had her family in the bank, said Tate. The bank women were nearly beside themselves with frenzy until they remembered that right next door in the rear of the City Hall building was an unused jail. So that is how Jezebel was sent to jail. But luckily, the bank workers managed to post bond for the brood, and the kittens were taken to new homes, and Jezebel returned to her seat at the bank. So this cat showed up pregnant and they had her give birth in the jail attached to the bank. I love it so much. I
love her.
In April of 1981, a story in the Star Herald reported that Jezebel had disappeared without warning and search parties were pressed into operation. As immediate efforts to locate Mrs. Cat failed, several theories developed as to what happened to her. The most popular theory, according to the paper's account, was that Bob Monk, former news editor of the Star Herald and the current editor for the Pontotoc Progress, had misled Jezebel into believing that he was going to take her picture for the paper and instead stabbed her with his poison pen and dropped her body off the Big Black River Bridge, weighted down with a Kosciuszko traffic signal light. Monk is known to be an avowed hater of cats. The theory was proved untrue when Jezebel returned to West, unharmed and unwilling to answer any inquiries as to where she had been. At the time of her death, Jezebel was the holder of mineral and property rights to Section 1, Lot 1, Box 1 in the County of Carroll, and the title of chairman of the board at the West Branch office of Holmes County Bank. She willed these and other items, some material and some not, to various admirers and friends in the community at the time of her death. Tate delivered the eulogy, and those attending the funeral were asked to make comments concerning their unforgettable friend, and there's a picture of them having a full-on funeral for her.
Oh!
"We will miss Jezebel," said Mrs. Stevens. "She was one of the most aristocratic people I ever knew because she was so very careful in choosing her friends. She knew who her friends were and who her enemies were." Mrs. Kraft is often referred to as Jezebel's mother, said, "Jezebel was a nice cat. I have had 75 to 100 cats, and Jezebel was the smartest and certainly the sweetest, and I miss her. Jezebel knew some hard times and some good times," said Tate. "Her past was somewhat clouded. There were those who questioned her morals. She did frequent the liquor establishment with regularity, and she was known to go to jail. She did keep late hours and liked to sleep in most mornings. There were those who thought her lazy and worthless, and others who considered her smart and valuable. There were those who thought her mischievous and others who considered her angelic. She was known at times to be devilish and at other times to be pure. Unlike her namesake, she was religious and was observed attending service at West Baptist Church, especially the social functions. She was once poor but died most affluent. She enjoyed her status and reveled in her executive bank position. She liked luxury, and her taste in food often ran to gourmet. She liked to travel and was known to take extended, mysterious trips. She could be distant and curt, and at other times friendly and charming. She could be an intellectual and snob. She loved to keep watch over the Sunday paper, but felt she was above the news. She could also be common and humble. There were those who tried to ignore her, and others who spread her fame. Those who spurned her, and others who adored her. There were those who resented her popularity, and others who contributed to it. There were those who tried to do her in, and others who rescued her. There are those who will love to forget her and others who will remember her always. Like her namesake of old, Jezebel will have her place in history. After all, she was a favorite of lawmakers and writers."
Jezebel, I love that
Jezebel,
so much.
I know it's kind of a long one, girls, but that was
perfect.
It was so good.
So good. I mean, I just love, what is it, anthropomorphize? Every animal, so I love it.
Yeah, so sweet.
Oh, she was a diva.
Oh my god, that girl.
That girl
She was
the girl.
Who do you got?
All right, I have a cutie that actually reminds me of you. This is for Jeffrey Kramer, born September 8th, 1953, and died March 31st, 2026. Within those dates, he lived a lot of life. Jeff was born in Kalamazoo, Missouri, the middle of 5 children, and like most middle children, he had a talent for getting himself noticed. He was always a trickster and a troublemaker who was looking for a laugh. He loved animals and he loved children, becoming the preferred babysitter of his younger brothers so he could skip weekly church services. Always a hard worker, he tried many jobs. I asked him once what his worst job was. Gas station attendant. The coolest? pet store employee, until he ultimately found his path owning a small business. Jeff co-owned On Target Guns and Gunsmithing in Kalamazoo, which quickly became a huge success. On Target became a fixture in Kalamazoo, and to me, Jeff became a bit of a local celebrity with folks coming up to say hello in the grocery store. Unlike some men who experience professional success, though, Jeff always put his friends and family first. If you were sick at school, it was Dad who picked you up. If you needed help with your math homework, it was Dad who would clear off the table and smear shaving cream on it to teach you multiplication. He lived a life well lived, full of laughter and love, and quite a few practical jokes. He was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia a year before his death, and here too, he never lost his sense of humor. Even when he became critically ill with a severe infection, the doctors were explaining the need for a CT scan, referred to as CAT scan in the medical parlance. And he pipes up, "Is that the one where they put the cat on your chest to tell you what's wrong?" And the whole resuscitation team just laughed. Jeff will be remembered best by his laughter and the warmth he brought to whatever room he was in. Jeff Kramer was predeceased by his wife, and he is survived by his children and his grandchildren. And that's it.
So sweet.
I know. He's a cutie, and the pictures of him in a cowboy hat, and he just looks so cool.
Cool guy.
Cool guy.
Rest in peace, man.
I know. Sweetie.
Well, you know what's not sweet.
I know.
All right. Well, we have spun in our coffins.
We have bitched our obituaries.
It means it's time for some dumb
ass
criminals.
criminals.
I am so excited. This is from April 25th, 1910. Madison, I am presenting you the Dynamite Diva.
The Dynamite Diva? What?
I'm not going to read any of the headlines. I'm just going to read you the article.
Okay.
It's so good. Prairie City, Iowa, April 25th. The beautiful home of Jesse A. Quick, a wealthy farmer living 3 miles east of Prairie City, was completely wrecked at midnight Saturday night by the explosion of a charge of dynamite which had been placed under the front porch of the house.
Oh, no.
All the occupants of the house escaped injury. Miss Mary Guthrie of Carthage, Illinois, was arrested an hour later in Prairie City, suspected of having set the charge. She is being held in the jail here, although no charges have been filed against her yet. In the yard at the Quick home yesterday was found one of a pair of gloves which Miss Guthrie is said to have purchased here Friday. You can't leave your gloves behind.
If the glove fits. You must acquit.
At the Quick home Saturday night, and in the bedroom on the second floor nearest the charge of dynamite, was Dr. Alexander Hall of Colfax and his young wife, formerly Miss Myrtle Quick, a daughter of Jesse A. Quick. Dr. Hall and Miss Guthrie were formerly close friends, and it is rumored here that the pair were at one time engaged to be married. Her disappointment because of Dr. Hall's marriage to another woman is the theory given currency here for any attempt at revenge that Miss Guthrie may have made. Dr. Hall took his degree at the Wetmer School in Nevada, and Miss Guthrie was a student at the school at the same time, and it's reported that the two spent considerable time together during their college careers. Dr. Hall came to Colfax about 6 months ago, and there he met Miss Quick. The couple were married in February and have been staying at the home of Mrs. Quick's parents since their return from a honeymoon. So she was the suspect, she was his former student. And was in love with him.
And pissed
that he went off and got married. So she fucking pulled out some Toontown dynamite.
Toontown mama.
And said, fuck you, and blew him up.
I love it.
The headlines were good. I just saw like the first headline said, home dynamited, woman arrested, jealousy and hate for newlyweds described as only possible motive. I'm like, home dynamited?
Crazy.
Dynamite is crazy.
That is nuts. Well, I have some dynamite for you actually, Spencer.
Okay.
And this is dumbass criminal adjacent. It's to catch a dumbass criminal. Let me just Let me just read you this. This is from the New Orleans States, 1927, from where I found my side bitch, and it was sitting next to it, and I just think it is perfect. It says, Arthur Baker, a coal miner, lost both hands when he connected an electric light globe that had been filled with dynamite for use as a burglar trap. Because of numerous robberies, Dominic Galasina, night shot firer at the mine, rigged up the trap. Burglars entered his home Wednesday night, but instead of connecting the globe, they moved it to another room and screwed it in the socket. When Baker came to the house after work, he switched on the light and the explosion occurred, blowing off his hands.
Oh, no. So it was an accident.
Yeah, so the headline is Burglar Trap Explodes. Man Loses Both Hands.
Fuck.
Oh, those booby traps and burglar traps, I know we've talked about them. They make you the dumbass, truly.
We should do a whole coffin spinner on booby traps.
Haven't we?
I don't know.
Feel like we might have, but maybe not.
Maybe not.
Damn.
There's some crazy. You know what I always think of in Saw? It's one of the Saw movies, maybe the first one, where they're like turning the door handle, but there's the gun. It's like the string is on the trigger.
Like a Russian roulette kind of thing. God.
Crazy.
No, thank you.
Well, that was just dynamite.
Dynamite. Yeah.
Dynamite. All right. Well, I'll see you tomorrow to do this again. But for the rest of you, we'll see you next week with some more coffin spinners.
And obituaries.
And dumb
ass
criminals. Goodbye.
Goodbye.